bonjour, good morning. I think I'm going to use my text here because the teleprompter is not ready yet. So I'm speaking to you today as the Vice President of the Canadian Association of Film Distributors and Exporters. In my spare time, I'm also the President of Les Films Séville, Iwan's Quebec-based business. On behalf of CAFDE, President Hussein Amarchi, and all of our members, which include D-Films, Kino Smith, Metropole Films, Iwan, Les Films Séville, Mongrel Media, Pacific Northwest Pictures, and Elevation Films, I would like to take a few moments to highlight some collective insights and share CAFDE's priorities for the coming year. While I'm confident that you all know at least one of our members, you may not be aware that we recently relaunched the organization and have moved our offices to Ottawa. It's a defining time in our business. Important regulatory conversations that impact our sector are taking place here, and it's important for us to have a voice. The association was created in 1991 to represent the Canadian film distribution industry and its members on matters of national interest. While our mandate is the same today, the reality is very different. Technology offers us new avenues to exploit Canadian films, and believe me, we're taking advantage of them. Distributors are the first to hold conversations with emerging platforms. But does that mean that the traditional routes of conventional broadcast are no longer essential? As we prepare for the future, we must still survive and thrive in the present. The CRTC, the CMPA, Madame Brabant, and many others have highlighted accessibility as a key consumer issue. We're also focused on accessibility. But we note that in a recent Téléfilm Canada survey, the majority of Canadians see most movies on television. So we're thinking about the Canadian consumers who invest in Canadian films but don't get to see them on television. The health and existence of our sector depends on support from the broadcasters and exhibitors, audiences, and government. Consolidation in broadcast and exhibition have limited our options for delivering Canadian films to Canadian audiences. For audiences, accessibility is only possible if we have a healthy production sector in Canada, and distributors can invest in quality films for distribution across the country and around the world. The model is at risk without public support, and public support is only possible if Canadians can see the variety of our quality films. Some might suggest that new OTT, SVOD, and VOD platforms will reduce and eventually eliminate our need for broadcasters to show Canadian films. But this is certainly not the case today or for the foreseeable future. Canadian films, as long-form storytelling, may not add zeros like simulcasting US television programming or be as cheap as reality shows. But they are part of our cultural fabric, and even more, they are an important part of the economic model. Importing content has no employment benefit and does nothing to tell the Canadian story at home or around the world. However, every film made in Canada further defines our identity and employs hundreds of highly skilled Canadians. In Quebec, our broadcasters often invest in our films. As a result of their support, films are getting made, marketed, and shown on television to hundreds of thousands of people at a time. The model in Quebec has enabled us to entertain audiences with great films, and in turn, they're excited by local productions and ask for more. Over the last few years, I've been invited to speak on many panels, and I've found myself explaining how the same success can be achieved in English Canada. The film industry in Quebec is doing well, partially due to the fact that we get full support from broadcasters. They are living up to their obligations to the CRTC and the public and profiting from this. It's working because, along with the world-class talent and government support, which English Canada certainly has as well, we have broadcaster support. In English Canada, the increasing investment and popularity in television content has made film even less of a priority for broadcasters. The percentage of the pay TV services devoted to Canadian feature films continue to decline, and the film-oriented specialty services don't have a good track record either. Until the CRTC takes steps to enshrine feature film in its own category, distinct from all other dramatic programming, and with resources of its own, distributors are on their own to illustrate the broadcasters something that they should be obvious to them and absolutely required of them. The broadcasters who pledge to buy every suitable Canadian film must now live up to that promise. Let's face it, Canadian feature films have never been better, and they're being celebrated all around the world. The quality of French and English language Canadian cinema today is better than ever before. Recent examples from Quebec include Louis Cyr, Gabrielle, Starbuck, Incendie, and from English Canada, Stories We Tell, Midnight's Children, Goon, The Grand Seduction, Watermark, and The F Word. To the broadcasters, we say, no more excuses. Canada has an amazing talent pool, which is now getting attention around the world. Denis Villeneuve, Xavier Dolan, Jean-Marc Vallée, Atom Egoyan, and David Cronenberg, to name just a few. Look at this as an opportunity and not a liability. Get ahead of the curve. Support our filmmakers early and on a continued basis. Step up and tell Canadian audiences that our filmmakers are primetime material. To everyone in the room, delivering Canadian films to Canadian audiences is our shared opportunity. It's the decisions we all make today that will impact the health of our sector tomorrow. If public support wanes because Canadian audiences cannot see the result of their investments, we are all to blame. In the coming year, CAFDE will be involved in the conversations to bring meaningful broadcaster support to Canadian films. We will also work with government bodies to ensure that our filmmakers are getting enough support to continue the wonderful work they're doing. CAFDE will also lend the expertise of its members to conversations that will prepare us all for a future where Canadians can see the Canadian story on screen. Merci. Thank you.